Nothing has done more to fuel the national debate over police tactics than dramatic, sometimes grisly video. One of those recorded in North Charleston.
Sure was. It showed Officer Michael Slager gunning down Walter Scott, an unarmed man, after a traffic stop. The video replayed across the country, capturing national attention, and it underscored increasing tension between police officers and black men. But it also brought about change that many hope will be for the better.
Let me have your driver's license. So you don't have any paperwork in the glove box?
No, sir.
No registration in there? No insurance?
He has all that stuff.
Why isn't it? Okay.
Saturday, April 4th, dashcam video shows North Charleston police officer Michael Slager pulling over Walter Scott, the Mercedes-Benz Scott was driving with a broken taillight.
A minute ago you told me that you bought it, and you're changing everything over on Monday.
Well, I'm sorry about that. I'm going to pick everything over on Monday.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll be right back with you.
What appeared to be a typical traffic stop escalated quickly.
Have a seat in the car.
For reasons not known, Scott runs from his car and Slager runs after him. But where dashcam video ends, the video seen around the world picks up the deadly moment. A passerby, Faden Santana, shoots this video from his cell phone. 8 gunshots, 5 of them striking Scott in the back. Walter Scott is dead. Santana shows the video to his family, who hands it over to state police and city officials. And 4 days after that shooting, a decision is made.
That is the result of that video and the bad decision made by our officer. He will be charged with murder.
And I was sickened by what I saw.
Patrolman First Class Michael Thomas Slager, 33 years old, taken into custody and charged with murder.
Hands up! Don't shoot!
The next day and following weeks, rallies against police brutality, some at City Hall, another on the Ravenel Bridge. Some call for Mayor Keith Summey to resign. The national media descends upon North Charleston.
We want to make it known to them that there is a consequence for their actions.
While Walter Scott is laid to rest, the controversy continues. It takes his mother 3 months to finally visit the scene of the shooting.
But we're going to be okay. We will make it. We will make it.
And the importance of video brings the subject of body cameras to the forefront. Governor Nikki Haley signed the first law of its kind in June.
This bill is about people.
And just this month, top state law enforcement officials approved guidelines for the first state law that mandates law enforcement officers be equipped with body cameras.
This entire situation never should have occurred.
The city of North Charleston reaches a $6.5 million settlement with Scott's family, the largest of its kind in the state of South Carolina.
This settlement is a step in the right direction for the family, the city, the Lowcountry, and our state.
The fight now is in the courtroom. Hoping to expose cracks in the murder case, Slager's attorneys present evidence they say showed Slager had been beaten in a struggle over a taser before he fired those 8 shots.
What matters is when was the testing that destroyed the potential evidence? When was that done?
But prosecutors, using the now famous video, paint the former officer as an executioner who tried to plant evidence and concoct a story of self-defense.
2 DNA swabs swabbed the entire taser.
8 months and 8 shots later, national debate continues, as does the pain and suffering from everyone involved.
I love him very much, and I miss him.
Michael Slager is still in jail despite attempts by his attorneys to get him out on bail. A trial expected sometime next year.
It's also been a big year for economic growth in the Palmetto State. As of October, the employment rate in South Carolina was at the lowest level since June of 2007. In May of this year, Volvo announced that it would be opening its first U.S. plant right here in the Lowcountry. Already, the plant has helped to bring new jobs to the area, and this is just the beginning.
Volvo officially inked the deal with the state and Berkeley County and will begin building the first North American Volvo factory right here in the Lowcountry.
So it was a natural fit when here it took a state and what they wanted to see was a state that was going to care about the business atmosphere, but more than that, a state that was going to have a relationship.
CEO of Volvo North America says the state's success with Mercedes-Benz and BMW was a significant factor.
They have paved the way for us because there are suppliers already in the state.
This is a $500 million investment right here in Berkeley County. The plant will be built in Ridgeville, just off I-26. That's along Highway 27 to Fish Road.
Volvo, the global leader in car manufacturing, is said to bring 2,000 jobs here in the next decade and 4,000 long term.
Right now, all you see at the future site of the plant is an occasional vehicle entering the property. This week, the Corps of Engineers gave their approval to the project by issuing a permit. The state DOT is now working on design changes for the new I-26 interchange that will be needed for the plant.
Really an exciting time for Berkeley County.
All this activity means jobs that are open right now.
I'd like to reach out to your audience and let folks know that there are jobs available.
And hiring will begin at the end of 2017. Now, the plant will have the ability to build up to 100,000 Volvo cars per year. The first vehicles expected to roll off the assembly line in 2018.
There are plans to widen the 3-mile stretch of I-26 in Berkeley County to help accommodate the increased traffic. The county is currently trying to secure funding to make it a 14-mile stretch. Construction again begins on that plant in September. It's expected to be up and running by 2018.
The men and women in law enforcement and their families know the fear well. The fear that they or their loved one may not make it home at the end of the day. For one Berkeley County deputy, the fear was realized as he was shot in the dead of the night at a gas station. Fortunately, he survived and continues to recover. Brad Franco has the story of Lieutenant Will Rogers.
Highway 52 at the Kangaroo, advising shots fired, possible officer down, 10 miles above the 43.
The dispatcher's words pierced through law enforcement on the night of May 14, 2015. When they arrived, officers found Berkeley County Sheriff's Office Lieutenant Will Rogers bleeding with a gunshot wound to the head. Immediately, the search for a suspect began.
The description that we've given you is the only description that the witnesses were able to give us. Again, keep this family in your prayers.
And around midnight, it appears that family, friends, and or relatives arrived at the hospital, escorted by police, and then over to the hospital officials. Later, you see the same group hugging and crying outside the ER.
In the hours that followed, family and fellow officers held vigil at MUSC while detectives started piecing it all together and narrowing in on the man in that grainy surveillance video seen carjacking another man and taking off in his vehicle. 1 week later, the break officers worked so hard for materialized.
Right now, we continue to follow breaking news from downtown Charleston, where police officers and SWAT teams have a house surrounded, and they say that it is the suspect who shot Berkeley County Sheriff Will Rogers.
The Charleston Police Department alerting us on social media that the BCSO shooting suspect, this is quoting that tweet now, BCSO shooting suspect in apartment in Robert Mills Manor on Bufane Street.
The suspect, later identified as Jerome Caldwell, made his way to an apartment complex in downtown Charleston, and police knew he was there. When they arrived to arrest him, he smashed his way through the wall of one apartment into another, igniting a 10-hour standoff. Riddled with occasional gunfire and sounds of SWAT officers firing tear gas canisters into the apartment, all in an effort to smoke out Caldwell. Then, just before 2 o'clock in the afternoon on May 21st, Caldwell came out firing. And officers ended it.
At 1:47, he came out of the rear of the apartment, fired multiple shots at our officers. Officers returned fire, and he was hit, and he is now deceased.
With Caldwell dead, the chances of answering why he attacked Rogers were also gone. But Rogers survived, and he and his family now focused on his recovery. And after several surgeries and trips back to the hospital, Rogers made enough progress to be sworn in by the new sheriff, Dwayne Lewis, 4 months after that horrible night on Highway 52. And he maintains his goal is to get back to active duty. Brad Franco, News 2.
In late May, the world fell in love with a bubbly dog who would become known as Caitlin.
This loving chocolate pup became the face for animal cruelty across the globe, and in the process has won over the hearts of a lot of people. Christine Kohler has the story.
It was late May when social media's attention was captured by one horrific photo from North Charleston. The picture showed a helpless dog with her muzzle wrapped tightly in electric tape.
This is one of the most horrific ones I've seen in my entire career, and definitely here at Charleston Animal Society.
Her mouth swollen and her skin raw in places, her tongue purple and sticking out.
You got to think, what kind of cruel person is going to take their time to do that to a dog?
Luckily, someone in the Chicora Cherokee neighborhood in North Charleston found the chocolate staffy mix on their doorstep and called for help.
It's been going really well for her. She's been doing great, taking her medications, eating and drinking.
Vets at the Charleston Animal Society estimate the dog, who became known as Caitlin, was bound by the tape for 36 to 48 hours. She was in critical condition, and there was concern that she could lose a lot of her tongue and have physical disfigurement that could be life-threatening. But it only took a few days for the world to see Caitlin's resilience.
You can see that she no longer even has an IV catheter. She has an e-collar only when we're not with her, and that's so she doesn't scratch her healing wounds. And from here on out, it's only going to be uphill for her.
Caitlin was treated by veterinary specialty care in Mount Pleasant. She underwent laser therapy and hyperbaric oxygen treatment and had a little bit of plastic surgery, but was able to keep all but a small piece of her tongue.
An arrest in a horrific case of animal abuse. 41-year-old William Dodson received a $50,000 bond.
Court documents show a friend sold Caitlin to William Dodson for $20. The following day, the friend says Dodson told her Caitlin wouldn't stop barking, so he taped her mouth shut and apparently laughed about it. Dodson then chained the dog to his front yard, but she broke away.
She's doing great. She's continuing to heal. She still has those scars on her face, which she may have, for the rest of her life. Her fur is going to grow back, but some of it is just damaged beyond repair.
Caitlin is now the poster dog for preventing animal abuse and helping raise money for her friends along the way.
Caitlin's story really resonated with a lot of people, but there's so many other Caitlins out there.
And Caitlin is staying with a foster family until her case goes to trial and the outcome is final. A trial date for William Dodson has not yet been set.